folks, I'm going to post a couple links for you to read up. I want you to share with anybody that you know, family member, friend, who's dealing with diabetes. The reason I want to discuss this, just sat down with a patient who is headed towards the medical route for the treatment of an extremely high A1C. I wouldn't say extremely, I guess. She was, like 6.7 is the borderline when you're finally diagnosed as being diabetes if you use A1C levels, hemoglobin A1C levels alone. She was 6.9. She was gaining weight, can't lose weight, metabolism, feeling sluggish, feeling chronically tired, fatigued, lots of issues. She's been dealing with heart palpitations, racing heart, which we know some other factors that are playing in on that. But I wanted to talk just briefly about diabetes and the proper treatment of diabetes, because the proper treatment is not taking your drugs. That is not the proper treatment. And I'm not here to say take all your drugs and throw them in the trash today. And the reality is I'm not talking about type 1 diabetes specifically here in this moment in time. The more insulin, though, with type 1 diabetes, an individual with type 1 diabetes, the more insulin they have to inject and the more medications they have to go on, which is very, very common, the more money it costs and the poor health outcomes that they can achieve over their lifetime. The higher risk of heart attack and stroke and early mortality. I mean, a child in type 1 diabetes has, on average, throughout their lifetime, it's going to cut their life short by about 20 years. Now, if they can successfully lower the amount of insulin that they need to inject or consume, basically, or have injected into them with those new devices that are, in essence, life-saving. Insulin is a hormone, and God made that hormone, and so I do not feel that is a drug. That is a hormone that we're just bottling and giving to people as something God created, and we should give credit where credit is due for the way God designed the body. Sadly, though, some people deal with that. So that is just to say that if we were to help somebody with diabetes or type 1 diabetes, I'm not even going to go there. But type 1 diabetes is considered incurable, that you would never be able to cure it, but there is some cases in the peer-reviewed medical literature, very, very few, and I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form. I have never seen that personally in my patient, number of patients that I've seen with type 1 diabetes. But I would say I'm not going to say that it's never possible when it's actually been done by only a few. And again, there's only a few case studies that's actually occurred. But if we can lower the amount of insulin a child, an adult with type 1 diabetes, we lower the amount of insulin they need to take in, well, then we can substantially, number one, the lifestyle that would be needed to be followed to lower the amount of insulin that's needed, and using different herbal recommendations, things like that, can significantly lower the need for that hormone to be injected, thus lowering the harm that can come about from that hormone in uncontrolled sugars. So a lot of benefits there. They would live a longer and healthier life, and it would cost a lot less. In actuality, when you look at the cost of type 2 diabetes and just diabetes in general, I'm going to link this for you. I'm going to grab the link. I'm not going to be able to I'm not going to copy and paste two things at once, but I will put in the links here in this video. I'll put in here in the comments a link to one of these studies talking about the CARE diabetes journals, talking about the cost of diabetes. Diabetes costs on average $9,600, and that was in 2017. Of course, the drug inflation prices go up much faster than our national inflation rates. Thank God for all our Congress members who get their pockets filled with money from Big Pharma, and they don't want to cap the prices of drugs. Thus, the Big Pharma can just rake you through the coals when you are dealing with what is a illness that when your blood sugar isn't controlled appropriately and properly, guess what? It is a life-threatening situation. It can be serious problems. So, but on average, the average medical expenditures is $16,750 per year for a diabetic, and $9,600, almost $10,000 per year, is spent to the treatment of diabetes. So take 10 grand, folks, and granted, I understand this. This is one of the biggest hurdles to overcome for many people, is the fact that government subsidized insurances will pay for your drugs, but they won't pay for the coaching and nutritional recommendations that are intensive enough to actually reverse diabetes. And reversing diabetes is actually possible. So I'm going to link that for you as well. Obviously, very about the ability. So search through the comments there, folks, and you'll see articles and research studies. And the other one is just a tidbit of information, just a little snippet of what we do in the Wellness Way, how we use God's medicine. I joke around, it's metformin came after Golden Seal, but Golden Seal, I've got this stuff growing in my woods. You're not allowed to know where I live, though. But it grows wild, okay? Golden Seal is a wild medicinal plant. It's actually an endangered. It's one of the listed over-harvested in the wild, Golden Seal is. So don't go out there and be pulling willy-nilly all the Golden Seal you can find. Make sure that you learn how to appropriately harvest Golden Seal and be able to propagate those roots. So that's what I purchased, roots, and I propagated them and planted them throughout my woods so that I can eventually be able to grow God's medicine to show people how God how your health can prevail in times like this, in times of need, how God actually provided for you beforehand. But I'm going to link for you another research study, a PubMed research study where they did a comparison trial between using Golden Seal, the active ingredient, and the quote-unquote active ingredient in that was berberine. Berberine is a major compound in Golden Seal root, and guess what? It worked better than metformin. So diet, nutrition, lifestyle, and again, I go back to, I was working with this young woman, she's actually going through, she's probably right on the age, going through menopause, again, heart palpitations, lots of stress in her life. So the stressors, the poor nutrition, the sodas every day, we have to change all that. And so I gave her strict nutritional recommendations. We gave her a nutritional guide. We gave her menus, recipes, things like that. And that's what we do in the Wellness Way. That's what I do in my clinic. So we're going to help this woman not have to suffer the consequences of the significant health harm that comes about from uncontrolled blood sugar and diabetes, but we're also going to be able to save her a lot of money. So I wanted to put this out there to anybody. If anybody wants to, I will take on any patient that has been suffering with diabetes, and if you're going the medical route, what we can do is if it cost in 2017 and we do the inflation numbers and stuff like that, we're probably looking at maybe, we'll just round it up to about $10,000, let's say, which is actually more than that in 2019. But let's say you pay me $10,000 for 1 year of care, and I will give you all the herbs and all the nutritional support, all the recommendations. I won't buy your nutrition. You got to go to the store and do that. But guess what? If you give me 10 grand, I'll treat you and help you for a year. We'll get better results. Listen to this. Watch. Look at this. And I'm just kidding. I'm not going to charge 10 grand. That is not. I would charge that individual more than what I would charge somebody else for the same amount of coaching and assistance. But this efficacy of berberine, and again, it's a component and compound within Golden Seal. So if you want, treat yourself, and you can either pay the farmer or go out and harvest it yourself. Efficacy of berberine in patients with type 2 diabetes. The hypoglycemic effect of berberine was similar to that of metformin. There was some gastrointestinal adverse effects, not serious, just a little indigestion. Which, when you look at Golden Seal and berberine, it can actually be used to kill off yeast and things like that. It can help with weight loss because it does help lower sugar in your bloodstream, which ultimately lends to itself to improvements in weight loss or weight control. But going down in this, listen to this, folks. Compared with metformin, berberine exhibited an identical effect in the regulation of glucose metabolism. So that would be the lowering effect of hemoglobin A1C or A1C levels, your fasting, and your postprandial blood glucose. All of those measures, every single one of them, show improvements with berberine, with an herb, a root that God created. See, this is the thing. God's created it. Medicine tries to steal it and then patent it and rake you through the coals to steal your money. So fasting. And I know there's going to be those haters out there that want to sit there and say, well, this doc, he wants to sell you his herbs and he wants to sell you his coaching and nutritional advice. Yes, because it will actually help you live longer. And I never killed anybody for profits. So like Big Pharma I just really feel like people should probably turn, and I probably turn away from big pharma and stop giving money to corrupt organizations that just, don't really treat people the way they should. So, and it will cost you less. So I think there's a great trade-off there. Going on here, fasting insulin, postprandial insulin were all lowered as well. But get this. Regulation of lipid metabolism, so that would be like triglycerides as well as your cholesterol levels, were better with Golden Seal or berberine than with metformin. So there you have it, folks. A herb made by God. And I'll take you to here in the near future. I tell you what, my video guy Anthony just got in the office, so we're going to be doing a live video on the key component of immune regulation and balance and the development of autism and the keys to helping to reverse that, or giving you just a small, this will not be in-depth discussion. Next Tuesday I'll actually have an in-depth discussion in regards to subject in some manner. But I will take you out to the woods here soon and show you what I have growing in my woods, the medicines that God's created. So check out some comments and stuff here real quick before I sign off. Matthew says, a great reason to bankrupt Big Pharma and their service allopathic doctors. I completely agree. They're drug salesmen, all those people, they're merchants. And I'm using biblical language. The Bible does talk about the fact that in the end times all nations would be deceived by their merchants with the use of their pharmakeia, which translates into the use of drugs, not witchcraft. Witchcraft is English translation, which is not an accurate translation when we look at what it actually meant. It was use of drugs. It wasn't the use of herbs. It wasn't, it's kind of funny. I'm getting off topic. Anyways, going on. Redirect. Get the squirrel out of the room. Nicole. Nicole says he is talking about berberine for diabetes too. Absolutely. Gosh, why can't I see? How come I can't see all the comments? Anybody know? Ashley, if there's any chance you can help, because I saw some questions in the comments and stuff, and for some reason on the computer I cannot see all the comments. I might have to do the phone, so... Yeah, see, it's still
not showing you. Let's see.
Censorship. I don't know. It's probably just I don't know technology very well. But I wanted to answer some questions. But again, is it safe to use in pregnancy? Amber, it is not. I have to refresh my memory, but I do recall that it is on the list of herbs that have been shown. Awesome questions. Amber, I do not recall that it is on the list of herbs from the scientific community showing that there's any risk in using it. When you look at usually almost always when you see the benefits of herbs, there's side benefits, not effects like with medication. And the reality is, a lot of times in pregnancy, forcing you to do something that is not physiologically going to occur in your life, in your health, in your lifestyle, forcing a woman to drink down basically sugar like crazy and then say, oh, it went high. Well, that's not going to happen. If that doesn't happen in their nutritional regimen, in their diet, well, guess what? That test is worthless because that's not going to be a normal environmental stressor or thing that happens to this pregnant patient. So don't do that test and expect that test to give you any evidence of there's something actually going on with the mom. If you're not controlling sugar, but yet you don't eat a bunch of sugar, you're not going to elevate your sugar. You're not going to need the drugs. You're not going to need any assistance, even from herbs, in fact, if you control it in that manner. But there are other things that have a negative effect on our ability to control blood sugar. Type 2 diabetes is the inability to control sugar. It is not too much sugar. Too much sugar over the very long term can definitely burn out our cell receptors for insulin and cause problems in that manner. But one, I have seen multiple women who have had gestational diabetes. Again, that's pregnancy in quote unquote pregnancy induced diabetes. or high blood sugar. I've seen multiple women through adjustments of the upper cervical spine. The reason I say this, I could link to it, but I don't have the time because I'm doing another video at 1 o'clock I need to prep for. But if you look for it, Surgical Neurology International, September 2nd, 2010. Okay, so now you have it. Type 2 diabetes mellitus, a central nervous system etiology, meaning the central nervous system is a causative factor etiology where it's stemming from the cause of why someone cannot control their blood sugar. Your posture will change. The alignment of your spine will change when you become pregnant and your belly enlarges and chest enlarges, causes you to shift your position of your spine. So correction of upper cervical misalignments can improve blood sugar regulation. And the way we know that, and the way because of all the patients we've seen it happen with chiropractic and the case studies, of course, we can't get funding as a chiropractic community and chiropractic doctors to actually do studies on that on a large scale. Government just won't give us funding there. But guess what? Using the studies that have been done in medicine, they're doing decompressive surgery. The study I just mentioned, decompressive surgery. Take a knife around your brains and cut a bunch of tissue out there, and guess what? Once you take pressure off the brainstem, now your blood sugar is regulating better, and they reverse type 2 diabetes just like that, before they even wake up at the hospital bed. Okay, so would you rather have a knife or a gentle, nice adjustment of your upper cervical spine, being very specific? And I'm not talking about just general manipulation. I'm not talking about pop, pop. That's not the way we do adjustments. We do very, very specific adjustments. Somebody's dealing with a neurophysiological, abnormal health issue. So going on to another one. Talking about berberine. Alex Peter Lassus says, would be good if you specified that you are talking about type 2 diabetes. Diabetes type 1 is another story. Yes, Peter, I did that at the very beginning. Thanks for chiming in. I did that right at the beginning. Thank you for letting people know, and I will reiterate again, I am talking about type 2 diabetes, and I'm trying to say that as I go. But the same things that the lifestyle modifications, the adjustments, things like that, all will assist. Type 2 diabetes can occur in a type 1 diabetic. In essence, burning off of the cell receptors for insulin can occur in type 1 diabetes. So you can use the protocols and processes and adjustments and herbs in a type 1 diabetic and help them sustain and improve their insulin sensitivity. So it still is beneficial for both type 1 and type 2. In type 1, that's where, yes, you can almost surely reverse type 1 diabetes if you do the right things. And that's the key. You got to do the right things. And it is. I can show you the path. That's what I do in the Wellness Way physicians around the U.S. This is what we do. We show you the path. We show it to you. There it is. This is what you need to start doing, and we're going to help you along the way as you come across barriers. And because you'll see improvements. As your health improves, you'll see a plateau. Then we know what we need to test or change in the future. And again, the test we used with this lady is it costs less than her copay at her medical physician. It's like $35 for a lab test, and then she pays me for the coaching. So I literally say, get these tests, go up there, get them. All right, let's monitor your blood sugar that way. So Becky, I agree that it is wise to constantly say type 2 diabetes because a mom of a type 1 warrior, we have been told every fake cure out there, and it gets old after a while. Becky, yes, so again, I'm going to sit here and apologize for something I feel I tried my best to do, is say, I'm not saying reversing type diabetes. Maybe I will try it, and I will do that right now as we speak. Can I edit the video as I'm playing? Let's see if I can do that. Edit it. Yes, I can, I think. Diabetes. Reversing diabetes, and I'll put in parentheses, type 2. Okay, it didn't let me. Okay, I think I gotta wait till I end the live. So I will put in there. Ashley, just make sure that we put in parentheses for the mothers and stuff, the diabetic warriors, things like that. Yeah.
I'll change it.
And I agree, and I got a lot of flack out there. I am never going to say to somebody that we're working on you, we're working on your spine, we're working on your nutrition, we're working with you with herbs so that we can reverse your type 1 diabetes. I've never said that, never did. But when it's a fact that there is an extremely few number of cases of type 1, long-term type 1 diabetes reversing, it is possible. I say if you find one white crow, not all crows are black. All right? So it's just, I know it's detail oriented, it's semantics. I'm not saying that I can reverse type 1 diabetes, but I am saying that there is research and evidence and cases that it has occurred. Because again, type 1 diabetes is largely initiated through an autoimmune response. And if you can get that immune response under control right when you first start seeing a child develop type 1 diabetes, you might save a portion. And that's what they say. You may save a portion of their pancreatic islet cells. So you can save their cells of their pancreas that produce insulin. If you can stop the autoimmune response from occurring, then guess what? You may be able to stop type 1 diabetes before it becomes permanent, quote unquote, that every cell in their pancreas is killed and they can no longer produce insulin. So, that's where it's like, hey, get under somebody that could actually. If my child today had that, you know what I would be doing? I would be doing everything I can to get their immune system into balance, lower their inflammatory cytokines, look at the underlying factors that are triggering their immune response. Is there a molecular mimicry going on where they have a bacterial infection in their gut and the antigens on that bacteria are similar to the islet cells within the pancreas, and so then this immune system going after this bacterial infection or viral infection is then getting confused because the proteins on the bacteria look similar to the cells of your pancreas, and it goes and kills the cells of your pancreas. That is one of the major contributing factors to many different autoimmune tissue disorders. So, and type 1 diabetes, when autoimmunity is at play, causing damage to the pancreas cells, that is where it's like, yeah, I'm going down a really deep rabbit hole further than what I thought I would do. All right. Brenda, if a person has type 2 diabetes for a decade on meds but not really under control, is genetically caused, can you ever get back to without meds? So the reality is, the study I reference, and let me see if I can find it and I will post it here. We won't go too far over here. So type diabetes, a central nervous system etiology. All right, sorry, I had to punch this in and see if I can get you a link, because I'm going to reference them here, okay? It is what I believe, it's what I am confident with. Yep, here we go. All right. Type 2 diabetes mellitus, central nervous system etiology, okay? I am going to, I gotta go back because I had it on edit. Leave this page, close that out. See if I can comment here. Okay, so this is for Brenda. Brenda, I'm getting you a research article about the decompressive surgery of type 2 diabetes and how it's capable of reversing diabetes. And in that, they specifically note that it is not a genetic origin. The genes and the way the genes are expressed, especially through lifestyle, diet, nutrition, chemical exposure, stressors, things like that. Those are things that can trigger your genes to be predisposed to that. So, and you may have more of those predisposing genes for the development of type 2 diabetes, but saying it's purely genetic, written in stone, you can never get off your medications, that is not true, all right? I believe with a strict regimen, number one, you're going to be a lot healthier. And the way I tell people, the results we're going to get in my office and what I can do for somebody ultimately is largely, or if not completely, dependent on their adherence to the lifestyle modification, to the diet, lifestyle, the exercise routines, the adjustments, if that is a component, the proper testing. But on top of that, I can't say whether we're going to fully reverse it. It is possible. It is possible in a vast majority of people dealing with type 2 diabetes. All right, I've seen that. To every patient that has ever followed my protocols as I have requested them do, has been able to get off their medications. And I'm not saying get off their medications and then have to take my herbs for the rest of their life. No, in fact, the patients are able to get their body back into normal homeostasis and regulation, then not even need to take the herbs for the rest of your life. I have no plans for my patients to need to take the herbs for the rest of their life. My goal is to use them to help bring the body back into balance and homeostasis, get that vicious cycle, that self-perpetuating, perpetuating cycle from, get it stopped. It's like a flywheel flying in the wrong direction. You got to stop it first. Once you stop it, and that's what herbs really play a strong part, get it stopped, start moving in the right direction. When you get somebody's health moving in the right direction fast enough and strong enough, guess what? They can sustain on their own, and that's the ultimate goal of the Wellness Way doctors. So is it possible? Absolutely. But God's the only one with your effort and your will to do the right things. God's the one who knows how far you will get in what amount of time. All right, Wes, what's up, brother? Miss you, man. Hope you can get back in here, and let's help you as well if you need it. What's your opinion on snake diet? What? Snake diet? Dude, you're trying to joke around with me, I guarantee it. If you ever tried rattlesnake, it's not bad. Anyways, Rachel, I've had that in my neck, but still no change in my pains at all. What are we talking, Becky? Thank you. Very much appreciate you corrected. Becky, I appreciate you thanking me. Thank you. And I hope you, Becky, I would love to hear from you. Message me. I would love to hear from you. Is it okay that when the scientific evidence, and I've got the studies and I'll post them at some point, I would give glory. I'm not saying that I could not find anything in which the peer-reviewed evidence, those case studies of type 1 diabetics being able to actually no longer need insulin, I couldn't figure out any, when looking through them, that there was any protocol they used, anything. There was no treatment regimen. It was almost spontaneous. It was almost like a miraculous healing that occurred. So, again, I don't know what I would do other than the right things to get them healthier and how far they come. I agree 100% on your philosophy in addressing the autoimmune issues, and we should have known the beginning of the diagnosis. We are definitely keeping watch on siblings. Awesome, Becky. Awesome. Rachel, what about making chronic pains to go away? So chronic pain depends on the causes of chronic pain, and there's many things. I'll have to talk about that later, Rachel, but if you want any assistance, you call my office. We'll help you out the best we can. I got to kind of stay on this topic for right now. I know that people want me to talk a lot about different issues. What herbs you got for chronic illness, disease, pain? So fibromyalgia, things like that, it's more of an inflammatory immune type dysregulation issue. So a lot of times that's something that many people are dealing with because of chronic pain. I'll give you a tip. Using herbs, but I'm always trying to figure out what are the underlying factors that cause this chronic pain. So is it an inflammatory issue? Is it an autoimmune issue? Is it a chronic stress and mental issue? Is it lack of range of motion and movement in our body that causes pain? Cervical fusions, neck fusions, spinal fusions cause a lot of chronic pain. Degenerative disc causes it significantly. Operation Emmett, what was talking about. Okay, so, all right, folks, I think I got most, if not all, the comments taken care of there in regards especially to diabetes that we got on the show. Please make sure that you're not just liking the truth, you're sharing the truth with others so that we can save and change lives. If you want the assistance of a Wellness Way physician, look up the Wellness Way. Look for a doc in your area if you want somebody to help you directly, or if you want my assistance, I can help anyone throughout the entire U.S. because we can do phone consultations online, and pretty much you can get any of these labs that we utilize. And what's awesome is we've been negotiating with a lot of the labs for any test from your general blood work you get from your medical physician, with CBC and CMP, complete blood count, to we've got cardiovascular panels, we've got autoimmune panels, we've got food allergy panels, all these things, and we negotiate the price a lot lower. One patient actually ended up coming to me instead of going through their functional medical physician. Actually, their functional medical physician wanted to charge them $620 for a Dutch test, a hormone metabolite test. It's a dry urine sample test to look at female hormones. and $620 just for the test. That's not even for their office visit to show her what she needed to do to correct her hormones. Yeah, it was like $295 or something like that. I don't think you need to quote me on the dollar amount, and you cannot do that. Here's my clause. I always give estimates. I don't deal with money. Rachel, my office manager, she's the one who does the financial end of things. As I joke around with people, I say I got two women in my life. I got the one here in the office that takes the money for me, and I got my wife at home that takes the money from me. So, just kidding. I love my wife. She doesn't spend all of it. Kidding. Okay. It's funny to me. I like to laugh, so. A couple more questions came in. I was rambling. Joanna says, I just tuned in. Are we speaking about type 1 juvenile diabetes or type 2? Joanna, you're going to have to go back. We addressed that point that it is not just type 1. I'm not talking about type 1 in this instance. I do explain, my thoughts on type 1, and it's the extremely rare, more of what I would consider like a, spontaneous remission, non-protocol induced reversal type 1 diabetes has been seen, but I do not know what I would do except for helping the person help their body regulate their sugar, and I would never say come off of your insulin. But we're talking primarily about type 2 diabetes, specifically there, Joanna. And Becky actually helped you out there, Joanna. But please listen to the rest of it. I hope that helps you. She said, sad face, thank you. Okay, I'm a type 1 juvenile diabetic, 29 years. I'm still trying to heal myself. So Joanna, please go back and listen to it, because for your situation, if you can reduce the amount of insulin that your body needs to take in, the amount of insulin you need to inject, guess what? You're going to live a longer and healthier life, okay? If there are autoimmune triggers, and that's the thing, is they have seen some level of beta cell, islet cell function in the pancreas. So they've seen the cells of the pancreas actually functioning at extremely low levels, some of them that weren't completely killed off by like an autoimmune response in the body that drives the damage to the pancreas, causing the type 1 diabetes. And if you can get the body under control and get the sugar and the consumption of sugar and the insulin sensitivity so good, in essence, there is a strong ability to reduce it down to the most minimal amount of insulin possible. And again, if that ends up bringing the body to a state of health that it can spontaneously heal, then that's power within your own body to do that. That's nothing that I would be personally doing, or it would be not, my coaching isn't doing that. It's the body's potential to do that can potentially happen. So I do appreciate the opportunity to give you the truth, folks. If you need our office and need assistance, 931-591-2010. Again, that's 931-591-2010. Don't just run out and get any old golden seal out there. I think a couple different studies found some basically junk herbs out there on the shelves. I think golden seal was one of them. They did a bunch of studies, Consumer Reports, on different herbs, and it is an endangered, so we want to make sure that you know that it's not just being improperly harvested, because it is an endangered herb. It's on the watch list of things that, if we're not careful in the wild, we could make a plant go extinct or eliminate. So that's why we use a liquid herb. It's going to be much more potent and effective, much more bioavailable, and the potency we can get is far greater than what we can get in powdered herbs, so we can get much more effectiveness through that process. So in Wellness Way, we do not sell these online to just anybody because of the potency and the amounts and helping somebody through the process. So that's why you got to at least get on the phone with me and start at least a consultation if you wanted to purchase Wellness Way herbs. So Sarah, I appreciate you watching. One last. I'm pre-diabetic at 105. Last 2 times I've been eating better and losing weight. What can I do to not become a diabetic? So you are on the path already to reversing it. If you kept on a strict diet, probably like you're doing, and you continue to lose weight, you reduce stress, that type of thing, then that is literally, you're doing it right now. If you want a consultation there, Ileana, 9315912010, we can kind of walk you through and look at the different factors that may be playing a part in the development, because diabetes isn't just eating too much sugar, just bad nutrition. Because again, if it was just bad nutrition, the reference research article doing a surgery, a spinal surgery, a decompressive surgery in the brainstem in type 2 diabetics with uncontrolled blood sugar regulation, uncontrolled blood sugar, they were able to reverse. Now, in the obese patients, it wasn't as effective. It didn't help as much. It helped some, but didn't help as much. So obesity, overweight, and nutrition is a major component. And if there is a spinal neurological component, you have to fix that. If there's an immunological component, you have to fix that. And the only way to figure out what components are weighing in or a contributing factor to your condition is going to be proper testing. So I hope that helps. I got to jump off here, and actually I'm going live around 1 o'clock to discuss a brief segment on immune dysregulation and autism. So tune in then. All right, everybody. Peace. Love y'all.